what kind of price tag are we looking at to have that done? It shocked both of us, Mom and me.
Hi friends, I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and boy, it really warmed up out here. I'll be right back. Much better. As I was saying, I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and oftentimes I'm asked whether there are any challenges associated with living so close to my parents here on the homestead. And the answer to that question is honestly no. No, there isn't. Even though we share a 10-acre property, our houses are only about 100 yards or so apart. And despite that proximity, we never really feel crowded together or packed in. In fact, sometimes I wish we were just a little bit closer. My parents love hanging out and taking care of the chickens. I like borrowing their tools. My parents like to help me eat all of the eggs that the chickens lay, and I like to help them eat all of the snacks that they put up in their pantry. It's an ideal situation. I hate to get all sappy, but Holly and I really feel blessed to be able to share our lives and this homesteading project with my parents. We understand that that's the type of thing that not many people have the ability to do. So far from being challenged by it, we honestly cherish it. For those of you that are new to the channel, a real quick primer. My parents actually have been fixing up this older mobile home here on the property, and it was in pretty rough shape when they moved in. Despite its condition, however, they've been taking it through a really major series of renovations that we've actually detailed in a series of before and after videos. I'll include the link to those videos in the description below, and I'd encourage you to check those out. Anyways, it's been a few weeks since we've taken the camera inside, but yet another major renovation has occurred. I thought we'd go check it out. Let's go. Hey there, Dad.
Hey, Sean.
I've heard you've been busy.
Yes, yeah, it's been interesting. There's a little bit of a project that I'm mostly finished with now, and that we alluded to earlier. So I hate to keep anybody in suspense for too long, but just spent quite a bit of time working on this room, the guest
bathroom. Yeah. I'm going to show some before pictures right now, some before videos, so people can kind of get a sense of what this used to look like.
Right.
This was in pretty
rugged shape,
shaggy shape, as you're probably seeing right now. But how many days of work have you put into fixing this up?
This was probably in total the better part of a week. So in here, pretty much everything that you're looking at is new. Flooring, walls, new sink, a new mirror, new light, new little case, shelf
Hutch.
here, toilet paper holder, pretty much you name it, light switches.
The panels, did you mention the panels? The
Yep.
wall panels?
Yep, the wall panels.
You mentioned there's a new toilet as well.
I don't think I did mention that. Yep, that's a new toilet.
You mentioned the floor, the tiles.
The actual base cabinet itself is probably one of the few things that isn't different, but I did paint it.
The mirror, this is really cool how this mirror
Oh yeah,
can move. It's a tilt mirror.
which works out well for Mom because
Too short.
she's a little vertically challenged. Not that either you or I are giants, but yeah. So this is it. Now the shower curtain is in place the way it is right now because it's still a hot mess behind.
So
there.
the bathtub in the shower
Kind of the
area
surround
still needs to be done, but everything else is just incredible. The amount of work that you've done. What would you say the hardest is? I'm just looking. There's the vinyl flooring. There's the wall panels, which covered just the old. I guess it's drywall.
Yeah, it's like in mobile homes, it's kind of a vinyl paneling.
Yeah.
So covered that. And
Covered that.
all kinds of just holes in the
It looks
walls.
like there's trim all over. You
right.
put
Yep,
trim up.
Yep. Put trim all the way around.
The sink, there's this new faucet, which is kind of cool. It's one of those fountain style faucets.
Right.
This is just nice. The new light fixture. Did you mention that?
I believe I did. Yeah.
That's
So I
very
have
bright.
not painted the ceiling. I'll likely do that.
What was the hardest project in this?
You know, none of it
Redo.
was super difficult to do. I've in a previous home that I owned did work very similar to this, so there wasn't a huge learning curve. But some things in pretty much any house, but an older place, there's nothing that's flush or plumb or true. So whenever you're making cuts, for example, paneling cuts, it's not as simple as okay, it's 7 feet here, so it's going to be 7 feet all the way across. No, it's not.
Warped
it's just going to be
and
yep,
weft and all sorts of funkiness.
not real difficult, but time consuming. Takes time and patience. This is how God grows patience in people is putting in you situations that you have to stretch the patience a little. The vinyl flooring was a case in point. There are just so many places where I had to make little cutouts. It took me like just kind of the first row of vinyl panels that went down on the floor. The first row or two took me just an inordinate amount of time.
But once you
because
got
of the
that,
measuring. Yeah, once you start kind of getting things trued up, then working your way out doesn't take nearly as long. So.
how much would you say that you spent, all told, to take this bathroom from what we saw initially, just kind of in rough shape, to what we're looking at now? How much would you say this all cost you?
Well, it's interesting you would ask that question because a little bit of the backstory. Mom and I had an individual come, actually a couple of guys come, sort of handymen, people who do this sort of thing for a living. We walked them through the house talking about different projects, getting windows replaced and some other things. And we walked them in here, showed them the bathroom, told them kind of what we had in mind, and asked them what kind of price tag are we looking at to have that done. It shocked both of us, Mom and me, that
I don't think I heard this story, actually.
$4,000 is...
Jeez, I did not hear that. If I did, I must have been so absurd that it just completely flew over my head.
$4,000. We just couldn't wrap our brain around it either.
Okay, so professionals bid out $4,000 to
Right,
renovate
and
this.
and typically, you know, when they give you a price, it's usually about 50-50. In other words, 50% of the cost is for the material.
Sure.
50% for the labor. Still,
$4,000.
$4,000. It's like no.
Yeah.
So
So
to
you did this
answer-
yourself.
Right. Yeah. So labor was free, and I think for everything, now we still have the bathtub and the surround that needs to be done, but so far I've probably got it's roughly in the neighborhood of about $1,000. Nah, maybe even a little bit less than that. I would say closer to 800.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's all of the materials. That's
That's
the paneling. That's the tile. That's the new toilet. That's the hutch.
The
new sink.
the mirror. And now that I think about it, it's probably even less than 800. It was probably closer to $600 or $700.
So let that serve as some inspiration to people watching. This doesn't have to be terribly expensive or terribly hard, right?
Right, yeah. And if it's something you've never done before, there's this thing called YouTube. You may have heard of it. And there's a video for anything you can imagine.
YouTube University.
Yeah, right. So simple things like just how do I put paneling up on some nasty walls, or how do I remove and replace a toilet? As I've heard you say, and others as well, you can do it.
Yeah.
Just determine that you'll do it and do the research that's necessary. Buy the materials. Know that there will be moments of frustration.
There will always be issues.
Yeah, you and I had that conversation, I think it was yesterday. Nothing, it seems to me, comes easy. There will be some sweat, there will be some tense moments, but in the end, it's worth it.
It really is. This came out wonderfully.
Future projects, with the weather getting warmer,
I was gonna
and
ask you
nicer,
that.
probably going to concentrate more on the outside. There's a whole lot of cleanup that needs to be done.
Brush clearing. One of my favorite
yeah,
things.
Yeah, you want to pressure wash the vinyl siding and the pole barn, and maybe even paint the vinyl siding. I definitely want to work on the deck out front. So there are a number of outdoor
Gutters.
The back deck, which is
Needs
just
to be taken out.
piece of junk. A number of outdoor projects on the horizon.
Now's the time. March.
Yes, yeah, before it's just crazy hot outside and not every snake has woken up from its nap.
Yep.
And the bees and everything else. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Dad. Really appreciate it.
You bet.
So work continues apace on the renovation, just like it does here on the homestead. Something important to note here is none of us are professionals at these things. We're not builders, we're not contractors, we're not farmers. We're just doing these things because we can. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and until next time, remember, you don't need to be an expert to get things done.